Hello and welcome back to Let's Play Rogue Trader with me, Regadon. Let's knock out these colony events and head towards Orselio Prophecy. Warp Anomaly. An anomalous warp storm has cut the system off from the rest of the galaxy, and is presently driving the population insane. I hold prayer services to protect the subject's souls, +2 complacency, versus +2 efficiency and -1 complacency, and +1 security. Once the storm passed, the subjects thank the God Emperor for his mercy. And from darkness, a ship bearing refugees from Winterscale's domain arrives in orbit. The survivors claim that their son was stolen. Provide the refugees with shelter, that'll give us ×2 people and -1 security, versus +1 security and +1 profit factor. The fresh blood brought with it new discoveries and knowledge. This one's called Visions and Revelations. The colony's inhabitants are afflicted with religious ecstasy and visions. So declare the visions to be an omen, gives us +1 complacency versus +1 security, and +1 efficiency. Let's go with the omen. The madness of pure faith grips the planet's population. So what I've been trying to do is fully read the option that I know I'm going to take because it's the best roleplay-wise. Darn it, meant to do the third option. Before I look at what the rewards are for each choice. That way I don't make a meta decision, it's all based on roleplay.
Keep your wits about you.
Praise not the ice.
The Emperor is with us!
Your Emperor won't save you!
I need a foothold.
Argenta needs to go this way. This room has too much elevation, and her flamer's not good with elevation.
My place is at the fort. Indeed.
I can do that, with the right incentive. Am I getting paid for this?
The wolf is on the hunt. So it shall be. Is that all you've got?
Not what I meant to click on, that's okay. Let's give him another turn with Jai.
I hold all the
My
cards.
Garamite hide is strong! I will carve runes out of your bones! None can do this!
Alright, he's done on that side.
Get me a target.
But of course, Lord Captain.
For the throne's glory.
Your reckoning is due.
The Emperor is on our side. Be gone.
Go the wrong way. That's not my fault, though. I didn't bring Cassia. Left my navigator behind. Alright, and we have Giannis and Falstone. They're both right beside each other down this way. The fastest way to get there is probably here, which takes us right past Orcelio Prophecy. By the time we knock out those events, I'm sure more events will have popped up. So we're going to take option 3 here. We don't need the experience. And hopefully we still get the loot from the fight. So blessed by holy gifts, the God Emperor's loyal servants will battle his enemies without any fear or doubt. Blessed relics instill the souls of the Voidsmen with such faith, there is no room for fear or doubt. We have taken a staggering number of casualties to prevail over the enemy, but their sacrifice was not in vain. Fair enough. We can hop down to here, then there, then there. Alright. Option 3 again. Really don't need to take these fights anymore. The loot's nice and all, but just drops in the bucket. I think when we're still traveling between major quests and not just doing these events, I'll still take the fights because that's part of the main adventure. The debt. A Chartist trading partner cannot pay their dues on time. The colony hopes for your intervention. Seen jewelry box. Whole bunch of them at that. Just wait, I guess. None of these really fit roleplay-wise. It takes a few cycles, but the Chartist pays their debt and makes some additional generous donations. Not that I need the profit factor at this point, but why not? Warp Tear. A psychic manifestation leads to the opening of a warp breach in the middle of one of your colonies. Okay, wait for the breach to subside. That's all we can do? -2 complacency and -2 efficiency. A warp energies disfigure the earth and people in the area. Having gathered their bloody harvest, the sorcerer's powers disappear without a trace. I shouldn't even showed up to that one. How was I to know, though? I showed up to fail. I'll go and hop right here. That worked out nicely. I didn't even map that out. Alright, we'll hop straight to Smaragdus Mundus. It's a gross sounding name. Nice. Sector Chronos Expanse, Region Orcelio Prophecy System, Location Sanctum Novus, Exterior Observation Chambers. Material Witness Interrogation Vox Records conducted by Upper Deck Enforcers. Entry A-201. I'll say dot. Say 201 4866. 10. A chronometer turned since the incident. Oh, that is separate. Okay, there's a space there. Enforcer. A witness Haida on 00110101. You claim that you left the Sanctum Novice on the Lady Navigator's orders. Haida on 00110101. Affirmative. This unit acted in accordance with Maintenance Protocol TRN-08353. Step 1. Sense the sacred mechanisms for the duration of 15 chronometer turns. Step 2. Enforcer. You failed to inform the bridge about the imminent jump. I want to know why. Haida on 00110101. Data unavailable. The Lady Navigator ordered that she be connected to the Void Ship, but she did not order the preparation of the machine spirits for warp translation. Cause. A ritual that cannot be identified with this unit's capabilities. This unit received the command to interrupt Protocol TRN-08353 and exit the Sanctum Navis. Is it Navis or Navis? Or Novice? Entry M-0018723. 30 chronometer turns since the incident. Servant. No, please. Not the fingers. Enforcer. I'm gonna break one for every word of a lie I hear coming from your mouth. Now talk. Servant. Please. You have to believe me. All we did was prepare the canvas and mix the Lady Navigator's blood into the paints. Then we were told to lock open the shutters so that the Lord Captain could see everything that was going on inside the Sanctum Novice from the observation chambers. And... Enforcer. Rocks crap. Armor-glass can't shield you from warp horrors. Servant. I swear it on my soul and the Golden Throne, Master Enforcer. The Lady Navigator only wanted to paint a picture for a ritual or some such. That's all I know. She wasn't going to use the power in her eye. I still got as far away from there as I could. That's all I saw. I'm telling you. Entry H-905-00-80. 50 chronometer turns since the incident. Some pretty cool artwork. A senior enforcer. We performed an emergency warp jump, barely activated the Geller field in time, and are now being dragged to Throne knows where by an unknown force. The Lady Navigator and the Lord Captain are still unaccounted for. Now tell me, one more time, what transpired in the Sanctum Novice? Enforcer. I escorted the Lord Captain to the observation chambers, and yelled at the servant for leaving the shutters open. But then I was told it was on the Rogue Trader's orders. We could see the Lady Navigator clearly through the armor glass. She was nervous, flicking through some manuscripts over and over. Her anxiety was passed on to the servants, and because of it, it just couldn't do anything right. As soon the servants were ordered to leave the Sanctum Novice, and the Lady Navigator picked up her brush. Entranced, she started dragging it across the canvas, painting one image over another, and another one over the last, and another. And then the Lord Captain noticed it. There was a thing, on the other side. The picture, covered in a layer of fresh blood, was coming to life, but the Lady Navigator was oblivious. That is when the Lord Captain called out to Lady Cassia. Enforcer. Startled by the Lord Captain's cry, the Lady Navigator answered. That's when I realized it. The armor glass between us and the Sanctum Novice was gone, and the things in the painting, they broke free. Senior Enforcer. And what happened next? Enforcer. I I barely remember a thing. There's a bright flash, a purple blur. I remember feeling so scared that my knees were shaking. I remember my legs carrying me away like they had a mind of their own. As I ran, I heard screams behind me. The Lord Captain and Lady Cassia, they... oh God, Emperor, the creatures, they pulled them both inside the painting. Enforcer. Sir? Senior Enforcer. Mistress Voxmaster, I have a report that needs to be delivered to the senior officers. The Lord Captain and the Lady Navigator were lost during the emergency warp jump. The whereabouts are still unknown. I'm sending you the interrogation reports. End of recording. Sector no data, region no data, location no data. Material, relation to the Lord Captain's personal account. Recorded by no data. Note, strictly classified. Access protocol holder, Donald von Valancius. The Symphony Arcelio's ritual did not go as planned. The warp disturbance triggered by the Lady Navigator's trance washed over the Sanctum Novice. The void ship's machine spirits reacted to the surge of the Immaterium and interpreted it as a call to action. Thus did the emergency jump into the unknown begin. Amid the shrieks of sirens, the clanging of shutters, and the distant hum of the warp engine, some unknown will pulled the Lord Captain into the Sanctum Novice, or the creatures from the living canvas that had already gripped the Lady Navigator's throat. Horrified, almost out of breath, and struggling to scream, Cassia stretched out her hand, and began slowly sinking into her own painting. The Lord Captain snatched a dagger from the floor and started hacking at the hands reaching from inside the painting. The ritual dagger of House Arcelio cleaved the billowing shadows, and yet the painted hand reformed itself the moment after the blade passed through it. Cassia went limp in the clutches of horrific creation and was immediately pulled to the other side of the painting. A moment later, Donald, still clutching the dagger, was likewise plunged into the depths of the world the Lady Navigator had created. Donald awoke, finding himself in the middle of a gigantic, boundless, billowing nothingness. His body felt weightless, floating in a void strewn with hundreds of the Lady Navigator's colors, some of them bright, warm, and alluring, others morose, cold, and heavy. The Lord Captain reached for the bright colors. Donald plunged into a river of bright hues, and flashes of rosy sunset and lilac carried him down the dazzling stream. Before long, the Lord Captain was standing on an idyllic garden, permeated with the fragrance of flowers and the singing of birds. Servants in purple livery darted back and forth, attending to a withered old woman in a navigator's mask. Sitting on her lap and smiling coyly to everyone was a little girl with ruby eyes and white hair. Be a good little girl, my child, until the day we meet again. With trembling hands, the woman handed the girl to a navigator in laboratory attire. I am out of time. Prepare the child for the Atlas transfer, and destroy all records and mentions of the world of TV. None of us learn of that which took place here. And remember, your body must grow strong for it to accept my power. And once I have returned, loyalty will be rewarded. The memory dissipated, and a gust of silvery wind hurled the Lord Captain back into the ocean of nothingness. But this time, the nothingness felt dismal. Instead of bright hues, all it contained was shadows of invisible monsters swimming by, shrouded by a nebulous veil of unfathomableness. The Lord Captain swam toward the dark colors. Grayish-blue waves swallowed the Lord Captain, and the feeling of lightness disappeared as his limbs grew heavy again. Donald fell on the hard floor of a laboratory cluttered with vats as tall as a human. Inside them were dozens, hundreds even, of repulsive mutants. Some had no arms or no legs, or 2 heads or no face, with their innards turned inside out. But each had white skin, white hair, long clawed limbs, and ruby eyes. My lady, the child is born. The tall old woman slowly approached one of the vats. Readings, stable, mutations. None were detected at any of the stages. Genes, identical, my lady. Chances of survival, 100 times higher than any of the previous experiments. How long will it take to grow this child? I fear accelerating the process might cause the body to fail. The only one after years of silence. I understand the situation. Natural growth. I do not have that much time. We have to go with the backup plan. Yes, Novator. It will be done. The memory dissipated, and a gust of silvery wind hurled the Lord Captain back. I read that before. Same description as the bright colors. So closed his eyes and remained adrift in the weightlessness. Donald stayed in the ocean of nothingness, devoid of any sensation or emotion, until an ornate ritual dagger floated before his eyes, and reminded him of a world that once seemed more real than this one. Someone's scream broke the delicate equilibrium of the Lord Captain's motionless body, and the weightlessness released him. He plummeted into the maroon abyss of rolling illusions, but was now in full control of his body again. Then Donald descended into the abyss, toward the screams. Man, that art is cool. The Lord Captain crashed from an immeasurable height to the bottom of a rolling abyss, and the next moment, Donald saw two figures amid the billowing maroon mist. One of the figures, unnaturally gaunt and tall, was clutching the other, smaller one in its claws, screaming furiously. The Lord Captain peered into the strange maroon mist. The swirling mist all around him, Donald could make out human faces stricken with torment. And not just human faces. There were Xenos, Eldari. Their features fused together with those of humans, which made the Crimson Spectres look all the more abominable. Their gazes and their rage were directed at the two unmoving figures facing each other. The Lord Captain drew closer to look at the figures. One step was all it took for some unknown force to notice the Lord Captain, seize him, and drag him through the painting's twisted space. Now the Lord Captain could clearly see the dark shade of the long-dead navigator leaning over Cassia, clutching her neck in its clawed fingers. The shade screamed. "You're given life because of me. You survived because of me. And here you are now, because I have willed it so. Bow before me. Tell me what I wish to hear. Your suffering will end. Go on, child. I've waited for so long. Submit to me." Cassia looked exhausted, her body covered in hundreds of thin cuts, her lips lacerated, claw marks on her cheeks. There was horror and desperation in her eyes. "You lied to Tiffany. I cannot be you. I am me." Cassia's voice cracked and crimson tears started down her cheeks. "You know you're lying to yourself, child." The chilling voice made Donald's ears ring. "You saw everything. I created you. You are the child. You are me. And so it must be. Yes, I am the child. You are me. And so it must be." Cassia went limp into Tiffany Orselio's merciless grasp and closed her eyes. The Lord Captain urged the Lady Navigator to fight the monster to the bitter end. The Lord Captain's words attracted not just Lady Cassia's attention. Tiffany Orselio, finally noticing the presence of a living creature in that bizarre world, turned to face the interloper and lunged forward, seething with rage. When the entity's claws were millimeters from the rogue trader's throat, Cassia opened her navigator's eye, and a wave of unbridled warp energy obliterated Tisiphane's specter before she realized what was happening. The Lady Navigator graced the Lord Captain with a tired smile. The abortive ritual had turned out to be a trap set for Lady Cassia by the previous novator of her house, but the rogue trader had ensured that her plan fell to ruin, and now it was time to desert that accursed place. Cassia took the rogue trader's hand and guided him through the maroon mist and out of the painting. Their unconscious bodies were discovered in the Sanctum Novice 20 Terran days after their disappearance, as soon as the rogue trader's void ship had emerged from the warp in an unknown system. Alright, that's quite the event. Some cool art. So I wonder if my speculation was right, and the Atlas is tied to, well, I hadn't speculated. I talked about the hive minds previously with the Tyranids and the Eldari Infinity Circuit. We saw Eldari faces in that book event. So I'm curious if the Atlas is tied to an Infinity Circuit. And if so, if her quest is somehow tied to Erliot's quest, if we didn't gun her down in Kimura. Or at the very least, I'd guess that Erliot had something to say about human navigators using their Infinity Circuit. A couple of unknown planets. Well, I'm going to call it here, and next time, we'll check out these 2 planets. Continue with Cassia's quest. And then we'll probably head towards the Frozen Prince system. We'll do Pascal's quest. But we'll see. I want to map it out first, see what the fastest path is. Pascal's is very close to Furibundus, where we need to go for the main quest, so we'll probably save that for last regardless. But for now, I'm going to call it here. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you guys in the next one.